Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode, episode 6 of our Factorio tutorial series. In this episode, hopefully, we should be getting bots up and running today, and moving on from there. So one thing I did notice as soon as I turned on the factory today is I noticed that we have taken all our steel, and what we do is we don't allow it back in the factory. So I said to chest it, which is good, but you also need to allow the buffer to be a buffer. Right now it's just taking it all. This is a buffer when you set it up like this, but the other way it's just taking everything. So now we allow buffer action, so it's filling up this chest, but it's also unloading at the same time. So when this line backs up on me, it's gonna stockpile this chest up, so that's good like that. Another thing I'm going to notice quite shortly is I'm probably gonna start running out of power. So we're just gonna quickly revamp our power. I'm just going to add a couple more boilers here. If we do Control C and highlight over our base, we can tell how many boilers we have right now. We have 30, and we can go to 40. So I could add 10 more to that, or I could just make a new setup. We do have solid fuel right there, so it'll just take a moment's time to set it up like this. So there's a lot of different ways of setting up your boilers. I normally like to leave a gap like this. Like this. So you have your two boilers and your four steam engines, and then you have a space, and you have your another two boilers and four steam engines with a pipe connecting. But there's other ways of doing it as well. This is also kind of a neat way right here. I'll show you. So you place that there, and that there, and that there. So you stagger these. And you put your pipe like that. And you can put your power line in between like that. It's just a different way of doing it. Lots of different ways of doing the same thing. That is the joy of Factorio. Which one's better? I don't know. I don't really like doing this setup too much. It's a little more... it needs to be perfect, but I guess the other setup needs to be perfect as well, so... design it as you would. And I'm sure there's another 7,000 different ways of setting it up as well, but... these are the ways that I do it normally. But none is better than the other. Or none is more right than the other, I guess. And then we're going to split this off here. That's one of the things that makes this game great, though, is the multiple different ways of doing the same thing. That goes there, and everyone has water. It's not connected to the main power grid yet, so we'll do that, and then there you go. So now we should have far more power. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start getting our bots up and running. So we need to start making flying robot frames. They're quite an expensive recipe. It takes a bit of time, and before we do that, we know that we don't have enough green chips. I was quite confident that I didn't have enough green chips. We have a space down here now. We're not going to have any signs in between because blue is here, red is there, green is there, and military is there. So we'll place this as green chips. And we'll do the same kind of setup we did last time. Like that. And these will all be green chips here. So I'm going to shift right click and copy the copper cable. And shift right click and copy the green chips. These really should be Tech 2 assemblers. They shouldn't be Tech 1 assemblers, but I don't have any Tech 2 right now, so you get what you get. That goes right there. And there we got our copper cable, so we're halfway there already to our expanded green chip setup. Then we'll do the same thing. We'll put the iron underneath the copper machines. Grab a belt. Put you right there. Open that up. Bam. Easy game. We will need some fast inserters for this as well. This is going to be a fast inserter thing. When you start setting up the copper cable, you need fast inserters. The normal speed inserter just doesn't have enough speed to keep up. So we'll handcraft a bunch of those. And then we're going to notice that our resources will definitely not keep up anymore. They were barely keeping up as is. So now they definitely won't keep up. And that is A-okay. That is how we like to play Factorio. Using everything. I can go like that. Connect their power. So those guys are connected, and then these ones. Well, I guess that worked there too, but... Need one more. That goes there. And the iron are going to pull off of the slow belts. Just because if we look at the recipe, we know that it needs 3 copper cable to 1 iron plate. So fast inserter goes on to the copper cable because you need 3 times the amount versus the iron plate. So normal inserter should be able to keep up with the iron. Should. If I had all fast inserters, I'd probably just use all fast. But I don't have them, so... Here we are. It's there. You go there. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to output priority again. Force it on that side. We have a full line now. This can go join there. Meet up in the bus. Now, I was pretty confident that these are going to be too slow. So we had pocket crafted some Tech 2 assemblers. And that should be good there. Copper is really not keeping up at all anymore. We can totally tell. I'm not sure if it's the furnaces or the mining drills. So before we go over there, we'll just get a bit of everything. So this is step 1 of getting ready for bots. We just need more everything before we can get our bots up and running. We just don't have enough. Gonna build some furnaces. And I'll grab some belts before we go over there. Here are my belts. Yeah, let's go see what the problem is. So right now we don't have enough furnaces. I should grab some undergrounds too. I know we automate the undergrounds, so I don't need to go walk over and grab them. Or so I need to go over and walk over and grab them versus handcraft them. While our handcraft queue is busy. Red chips are doing red chip things. And now they're actually getting green chips for our motors. Our pollution should be flaring up on us, but we're still good. We can see our explored area, and we don't see any biters yet. Although they could be populating over here, and we just don't see them, because this is the radar explored zone. So our radar coverage is this box. With a little nook in there. And this is where the radar is kind of populating, so... They could be there. We just don't know it yet. This map does have expansion on. Which means the biters will move around and set up new bases of operations. We don't need worker cargo robot size. We'll swap over to utility science back. Stack insert is a really nice thing as well. These guys are much faster. So if you start using trains and the such, stack inserters are the way to go. Fast inserters just aren't enough. Stack will grab, I think they grab 10 at a time or something like that. They grab a lot though. Maybe not 10. I don't know. They grab a lot. They're good. And then you can upgrade your inserter capacity too. So that's the tech underneath stack inserters. So we'll do utility science pack. Like I said, for trains, I'm going to put a link again in the description of the video. I do have a video on trains of how to set up trains. In this playthrough, we will not do trains. So if you want to learn how to use trains, go check out that tutorial video. It's about 10 minutes long, and you should be an expert on trains after that video's done. Should. Almost everybody that I know have watched the video figured out trains after that, so. On YouTube, there's some other videos on trains that are an hour long, 2 hours long, and I feel they're a little bit confusing. I know when I was streaming on Twitch, that was one of the big questions I got was trains, trains, trains. So that was one of the first YouTube videos I ever actually made. Put a lot of time and effort into setting that video up. So go check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. This goes there. Let's look at some more copper. We still don't mine very much copper. We have, what, 14 mining drills? That's it. Just 14. Not sure how I want to do this here. We make some spaghetti. I want it to kind of side load into there. I don't want it to go in here. It's already almost a saturated line. So we want to add an extra access point. Like that. Is that perfect? No. But does it work? Yes. Should work. It should allow these guys to get excess resources. Once it starts becoming too slow again, you can just switch it to a red belt. And then if that's still too slow, then switch it to a blue belt. And then that goes like that. Rip that out. And there we go. We got quite a bit more copper. So we only had initially 9 furnaces. Now we have 20. And we can tell the iron also isn't keeping up anymore. Looks like I have some sort of a problem here. Nope, that's fuel line. That's good. It almost looked like there was a problem there, but not quite. We're just going to do iron on this line. This will just be iron. So we have steel on the other side, and we'll do iron on this side. Like that. And then we'll mirror the other side. So our fuel on the long arm inserter. I almost always like to do fuel on the long arm inserter because you don't use nearly as much fuel as you use the ores. So having gotten a long arm inserter always seems to be best for me anyways when I set up. This might be pulling too much off this line here. We can add a secondary input right there. And then we actually did that 100% wrong. We set it up not like that at all. It's like that. There you go. So it's pulling both the ores off the middle. I can just look at the inserter and tell. As I set it up, I did that backwards. That goes there. And it's dropping the ore right there. Always needing more. Gonna make it go up a little bit, and then we're gonna amalgamate the line into the main bus. Give ourselves some space here. Eventually you can upgrade into electric furnaces, but Electric furnaces are not faster than steel furnaces. They're the same speed. They are just able to be beaconed, so it's not something that you necessarily want to rush into. It helps having beacons and modules, but it doesn't make it faster. And since you have all these raw resources here anyways, it doesn't really... Raw resources being a fuel, it doesn't really matter too much, one way or the other. If you upgrade immediately or not. Just need more mining drills. Looks like we're using pretty much everything pretty well. It's going good so far. Factory is trucking along. Green chips are probably accumulating almost now. They look like they're doing a lot better. These red chips over here are almost... It looks like they are. They're fully working. So, we have done good. I have way too many furnaces on me. 159 might be too many. Just might be. So we have the splitter right here. We can dump this into the splitter side. Like that. There we go. More of everything. So we got more copper and we have more iron here in a second. I don't have more steel, but that should be okay. So we added an extra 12 mining drills there anyways. Plus the mining drills on the other side we added. So we're almost utilizing this entire patch now. Using a lot of it. Pretty good. And the copper is almost an entire full line. Looks like everything is going well, except for blue science is just a bit too slow, and it's too slow because of engines, it looks like. Engines are one of those recipes, they're just so slow. And this is where the bus comes in. Having the base styled like this, if I just want to add more engines, it takes 2 seconds. If you pasta your base up, it's quite hard to expand onto it. I do actually prefer to play pasta myself. Make a big mess and lines everywhere and no organization like this. But for tutorial's sake and for beginner's sake as a newer player, it makes it a lot harder because you don't know how much you need of everything. So I have a better understanding probably of how much you need because I've just played so much. And as you play more, you'll know exactly how much you need. So you'd be like, okay, I built 4 green chip assemblers. Is that enough? And as a more experienced player, you would know, no, that is not enough. But as a new player, you might be like, it's a lot. I only have one thing making belts. This is 4 times that. But yet you need a million times more green chips than you think. So we just add another 4, so we doubled our speed for that. Now we're going to go start making bots. Let's go get the bots up and running. They're pretty slow, so we'll let that start accumulating on us. Flying robot frames. We can make them right here. Make them right next to our blue science. This is a 20-second craft. So very, very slow. And you do need this for science as well, so it's an item that you're going to want to have a ton of. You'll never have enough flying robot frames. Well, maybe you will, but most people won't. So we need green chips again. I'll put the green chips right here. Here come the green. And even with the extra green chips we added, they just don't quite get enough copper, actually. But there's still not enough green getting provided down here. Especially after this is built. There'll be even less green. Then we need steel. Give me that steel. And there we go. We got some steel. And batteries. Beautiful. Now it's actually going the wrong way on the bus. That's okay. That is A-okay. So now we have flying robot frames. As soon as we power this guy on. That is step 1 of bots. That's the hardest step of bots. And then we'll offload long. Something like that. We'll go underneath the building with these. So the first utilization of these is we're not going to use science. We're going to make bots. We're going to get bots in this factory. So they're building super slow. And then we go look at the bots themselves, which are hiding under your logistics panel. You have construction robots, and there's logistics bots as well, which I have not teched for some reason. Where are you hiding, logistics bots? Why did that take me so long to find? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So we have this building. They're doing good. And then we have our construction bots. So first use of bots is going to be building construction bots. And again, we need more green chips. You're starting to see where this green chip pit comes in. Always need more green chips. The day that you have enough green chips, you're lying to yourself. It's one of those items you just need so many of. There's actually an achievement for green chips. If you look in the achievement menu here, it's produced 20 million electronic circuits. Apparently I don't have all the achievements because I reset my achievements, but actually it used to have a world record for getting all the achievements in one playthrough. The fastest for version 0.18 of Factorio. I held that record for some time, and then it was beat by somebody who did some planning, and I did not do any planning. Okay, so we have our first robots. Good. We're going to get a couple roboports, and we're going to explain robots, the basic 101 of robots, and what they are good for. And boy, are they good for a lot of things. Robots are really probably the reason why this game is so good. The early game is fine. I have no issue with the early game. But for someone who's played the game for hundreds and hundreds of hours, this early game can get a bit monotonous. I don't find it too bad. I kind of enjoy it myself. But some people I could see the replayability going downhill quite quickly because of you just always kind of doing the same thing at the beginning, right? But bots is where that all changes. And we'll talk about our chests as well here in a moment. So we have our first roboport. When you build a roboport, well, first you have your first bots. If you just place the bot up in the air, it just stands there. It has nowhere to go. It has no network it's in. It has no direction. It's just a lost little bot. So it's just floating in the air. You can just right click to pick it up. So just left click to drop it in the air, and it just won't do anything because there is no logistics network. So we place the first roboport down, and you see that it has this two colors underneath it. It has the orange color and the green color. The green color is the workable zone of this roboport. So if I place this down right here, and I grab this right there, now this roboport can build that. So a roboport can build there, but it can also build all the way out to right there. So the bots will build all the way to there, but they will not build in that area there. So that's where their workable zone is, I guess you could say. The orange area is their logistics zone. So what that means is that's where they can grab supplies from and they can connect to other roboports. So you see this has this like a dotted line now. If I place this here, the roboports are not connected because the orange grid is not connected. But if you place it there, they're now connected. So bots that are in this roboport can go to this roboport. Technically making this a one big network. So now these robots can work from, if I grab this here, they can work from all this orange area, but they can also do all the green area. This is their workable zone and their connection. Now, with the orange grid here, you're like, okay, so they have an orange grid and they can fly to the other roboport. There's these chests. The chests are what the robots work out of. So the chest in the orange zone means they can work out of that chest. If it's in the green zone, you get this flashing error message saying it's not in a logistics zone. So it's in a workable zone, right? You can tell it's in the workable zone in the green area, but it's actually not in their logistics zone. So they can't access that chest. They could work here, but they can't take stuff out of that chest. So just to recap, everything in the green area, the robots can do. They can work, they can build blueprints, they can rip down trees. Everything in the orange grid is where the robots can grab stuff from the passive provider chest. They can put stuff into the storage chest. Yeah, and they can connect to other roboports that way. You can do some interesting manipulation of your networks by having the robo networks not actually totally connect to each other. Like that. And then having your chests kind of connect to each other. So you do this, or you could actually just directly connect the chests with the inserter in the middle. If for some reason you didn't want these networks connecting to each other. And I'll talk about that a bit more once we get down to the logistics system itself as a whole. But just for basics, just know that the green zone is the workable zone, and the orange zone is where the bots can get their supplies from. So now we'll watch it in action here. So we're going to go power this other roboport over here. And we're going to do one of the most beautiful things roboports can do, or robots can do. So we talked a little bit earlier about how to cut down trees. So you can right click to chop down a tree. You can get a grenade, blow up a tree, or so we're going to drop the robots into the network here. So they go to their home base. You can also click into the roboport and control right click or drag items into it. Either or works. You can just drop them in the air. Or you can do this. Get a deconstruction planner by clicking in the bottom there. Right clicking the deconstruction planner to open it up. And you can make a whitelist and a blacklist on this. And you can also do this. Trees and rocks only. Oh. Oh. And now what's going to happen is the bots are going to, everything they rip up and they remove, and they put into a storage chest. So the bots were told to remove that. We're also going to tell them to remove this. And they're going to put that into the storage chest. They will not put it into a passive provider chest. They will not put it into a steel chest. They will put those, everything that they themselves remove and move around, they'll put into a storage chest. So when you only have these two chests, the passive provider chest, they'll pull out of a storage chest too. But they'll only put into a storage chest. So we build this, they'll grab out of the storage chest, but they'll also grab out of the passive provider chest. So we have the underground there. We tell them to place the underground. They'll grab the underground out of the passive provider chest. They'll also grab out of the storage chest as well, but they will place into the storage chest themselves. What that means is, and what the point of having all that set up like that is, what you can do is you can make these passive provider chests now. So now your assemblers are building directly into passive provider chests, which act the exact same as a normal chest, mind you. And then we'll make sure this is part of the logistics network here. And now the bots will grab that. So if I say, here bots, to go build all of that, they're going to grab from our quote-unquote mall and build all these belts for me. You can do that with everything else too. You can make that so you build your pipes into a logistics chest. You can do everything directly into that chest. It's quite beautiful. Or passive provider chest. So the two chests again. Passive provider is where you are providing. You're passively providing them resources. And the storage chest is where they're storing resources. So storage chest is where they put all the trees and the rock and all that stuff. And then the other chest is where you do everything. You provide them. You're passively providing them resources. So now we remove this, and they're going to remove this into the storage chest, not into the passive provider chest. Even though this is a chest of belts, they will not put it into there. And in the bottom, you can see that we're missing construction robots. All these bots are working. Hovering over the roboport, it tells you a little bit of information on what's going on. It says logistics robots available in this particular network is 0 because we have no logistics networks. And there's 54 construction bots, and all of them are working. This is 0 to 54. All the bots are currently tasked with working. Now, you can also directly insert robots into your roboport. This will fill it all the way up, and it will stop when it's full like that. But if the bots decide to go from this place, this roboport, to that roboport, eventually you might end up with 20,000 robots in your network. It's not the best way of automating it, but it is a way of automating it if you're looking at a way of automating. That is a thing. Now we'll talk about logistics robots. So now we're building a few of these logistics guys. These are also really good as well. So logistics bots work a bit differently than construction robots. Construction robots work. They construct, I guess. And logistics bots will move items around. Eventually you're going to get these chests here. Active provider chests, requester chests, and buffer chests. And the logistics bots work out of these chests mostly. They will work out of these chests as well, but logistics bots are more for the other chests. Now we have this logistics tab that popped up. I can do this. I can click this into my trash, and the bots will actually take it out of my inventory. It's really nice when the bots are really fast too. Right now the bots are incredibly slow, and the bots can be infinitely upgraded speed-wise. It gets more and more and more expensive, but if I can even find it. Why can I not find anything today? Who knows? It's right down. We'll just type speed. Right here. So worker robot speed plus 35%. And then you get another 40%. Then you get 55%. And then you get 65. And this will infinitely tech because it needs space science. So there'll be a tech after that, and another one after that, another one after that. Going forever and ever and ever. So these bots eventually will get very fast. So right now they're unloading my iron ore and my wood out of my inventory very slowly, but they're trying. They're doing their darndest. And what they're doing is they're putting everything into the storage chest. So they're taking all the stuff out of my inventory and putting them in the storage chests. Eventually this chest can get kind of cluttered, but for now that's just kind of how they're working. So you have the bots can also provide you with resources as well. So I'm telling the bots right now to give me, to make sure that in my inventory I always have between 100 and 200 belts on me. So now they're bringing me belts. And if you also look, it says how many are on the way and how many are in storage right now, which is another cool factor about this whole setup here. So you push L, and L is going to show you your logistics networks. Right now we only have one, but if for some reason, if we click over here, we had another network by itself, pushing L would show you everything in the network. So right now we can tell we have 1,400 wood, 318 fast transport belts, 100 fast splitters, 51 underground, 50 splitters, 443 transport, iron ore, etc. You get it. You understand what's going on there. So pressing L will show you everything in the logistics network. And you can type members as well, and it will show you what's all part of that network. It's just good when you get big networks of really big base. Sometimes you don't want everything connected. And you can do this for everything. So eventually, your inventory will always be stacked the way you want it. You always have your belts. You always have your everything you want on you. All the garbage that you pick up will automatically get dumped. And then it kind of turns into a bit of a mess here. So that's where these other chests come into play. We have active provider chest, requester chest, and buffer chest. I'll talk about those right now just because we're here. So active provider chest means that anything you put into that chest needs to be emptied immediately. So if you had an active provider chest right here, the purple chest, so this is an active provider, not a passive provider chest, the bots will always empty this chest. This chest needs to be emptied at all times. So that's kind of good if you have a junk chest. For example, as you drive into your base, you say this belt, this chest always needs to be emptied. You could use that for science. You space science, so your rocket silo unloads your space science into the active provider chest, and the bots will immediately empty that. It just means this chest needs to always be emptied. The bots will never put anything into it. They'll always empty that chest. Requester chest is you have a chest, and in that chest you can pick what item the bots bring to it. So say you want gears into this chest. You can click on the filter, and then the bots will bring gears to that chest if gears are available to be brought from in the network. And buffer chest is bots will fill a chest up with items up until a certain size. That's good if you have a really, really, really huge base. So say you have your belts over here, but you know that your bots are going to work on a big project over here. You make a buffer chest here. Again, it does need to be in the logistics zone, but when your base gets really, really, really huge and all your main items are automated here, and you know that there's a lot of work projects going on over here, you could say bring a buffer chest and fill up all the items over there. Not super used, but it does get used from time to time. The big items that are used all the time are the requester chests. Those are used quite a bit. The passive provider chest and the storage chest. Those are the ones that most people use 99% of the time. But really, bots are super straightforward. And then you grab this and you place that there, and then the bots all of a sudden start building that. Hover down over the bottom right, and we'll tell you what it doesn't have to build. It's missing a lot of items because we don't have a lot of items automated into our logistics network yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We're just starting out right now. We'll grab some more of these guys, grab some steel. I didn't want to give them all those red chips, so just didn't want all the engines on me. We'll grab these for a second. We'll make a couple more of these and connect the entire base into one big logistics network. You can automate these as well. It is a good item to automate, but we just started out, so there's no huge rush to get everything automated. It's a pretty expensive item as well. 45 red chips. Another reason why chesting these items is really good. Just because when we want to start building some of these more expensive items, we have everything kind of ready for us immediately. Grab that, and now we're going to connect to the entire base. That's good because then we can do this. Make these all passive provider chests. And see the bots are still trying to empty my inventory. We'll try to take all this garbage out of my inventory. So we're building one more of those. The range of the roboports isn't really super something you want to take into consideration. Doesn't really matter too much. The most important thing with range is know that the bots are traversing from one location to the other, and this is the only place they can charge. So if you have a really, really, really far remote outpost and the bots are flying from here to there, but your nearest charger is up over here or something, the bots will eventually slow down a lot when they run out of power. So you don't need 1,000 roboports on top of each other unless there's a lot of bots always working in that specific area. I think 4 bots can charge at a time. It says robot recharge rate 4 times 1 megawatt. That's the max amount of bots that can be charging at any given point on that specific roboport. If you see 1,000 bots all gathered around one roboport, which I'll show you here an example of in a moment, it just means that you might need more roboports. So we're going to space out a roboport here a bit. Just giving you the rundown of how these guys work. So we're going to grab a ton of belts and make them all place these belts down, because we know it's a way to force our bots to work. So again, they will work anywhere in the green area, and they will grab stuff out of that area. So we're going to see the great migration of bots here in a second. So all the bots, all our construction bots are going to try and get over here. And that means we have 150 bots on their way over down here right now. I only have 130 belts, so that's why not all the bots are here. So they're kind of slow right now, but they'll get faster. And then watch how they charge. So these guys can't charge because only 4 bots can charge at a time. So they're all waiting their turn. So eventually when you get a base with 5,000 bots and you notice that this is happening a lot, they're charging like that, you might need to add a couple more roboports to that area if there's a high traffic area like that. Otherwise, though, they do eventually do their thing. They will eventually charge. But just know that that's what that means. So when they're all gathering around, it means they're waiting their turn to charge in the roboport. Only 4 at a time. And that is bots 101. I was very intimidated by bots the first time I ever played Factorio. I was like, oh no, this is going to be very confusing. But look at like that right there. So beautiful. Just hover over this and the bots will just rip all this out. And there go the trees. They'll just fly over and remove all those trees. And then you make setups like this. You just Control C, grab that, and then paste it right down like that. And the bots will just place that whole blueprint down again. So then all of a sudden, magically, we have even more green chips being produced. I don't want that though right now, but for example. And then the bots are just picking everything up. But look at that tree removal. So beautiful. So yes, I definitely recommend bots. Bots what makes the game. Especially when you make a really big base design too. You can just pick it up and move it over a tile. To get the bots to remove that, copy this. You actually do Control cut and paste as well. So you can cut it and paste it. So Control X. And it'll do that. They also repair stuff for you. Now repair chests or repair packs don't need to be provided in a passive provider chest. They can actually go directly into the roboport. So roboport has space for construction robots, logistics bots, and also repair packs. So you can put them into a storage chest or passive provider. But you can also put them directly into roboport. That's it. Bots are just that simple. There's no circuits. There's no learning how to program. There's no any of that. It's just that simple. You get the 2 zones. The orange zone is a logistics zone of where they can pull items out of, and then the green zone is where they can work out of. And that's really bots right there. In the chest. And once I get the chest all set up, once I actually have this tech, which needs yellow science, also known as utility science packs, we will 100% re-explain all the chest types again. So if you're watching this video and the next video is out, you should be able to follow that directly again if you didn't understand what I was talking about for the requester chests, buffer chests, and active provider chests. But as stated earlier, we're going to stop there for now. We got our bots up and running, and we are going to be back with another video later in the series, which should be tomorrow, or if you're watching this after the fact, it should be out already. And yeah, I want to say thanks again for watching, and until next we meet, this is Yamakar. Ciao for now. Stay safe.